In the absence of light, darkness prevails. These are the founding words of the most experienced occult organization in history. It is tasked with confronting the many forces beyond human understanding, or the monsters that bend the laws of reality. Its agents are drawn from the best across two worlds, imbued with the authority of the Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense. The B.P.R.D. was founded in 1944 under orders by President Roosevelt as a direct counter to the growing international web of Nazi occultism. In desperation, the German Reich was working to contact ancient, darker, elder powers with the potential to unleash Armageddon. The Bureau saw its first major engagement later that very year, deploying the majority of its personnel to a remote island off the coast of Scotland. Here, a group of Nazi occultists were attempting to summon demonic forces to shift the tide of the Second World War. Led by a young Professor Brutenholm, the later director of the Bureau and its first true field agent, the strike team managed to interrupt the ritual, killing the cultists and their leaders, the mystically enhanced Obersturmbannführer Cronin, and his occult master, Grigory Rasputin. This assault was the first step in what would become known as the Occult Wars, a covert international effort to pick apart the Nazi supernatural apparatus. This clandestine conflict saw the Bureau expand from a US-based federal agency derived from the Department of War into an internationally supported organization. It enjoyed the unequivocal support of the United Nations, with the freedom to act across the world even during the height of the Cold War. Only the People's Republic of China and the United States Central Intelligence Agency took exception to the Bureau's activities, though precisely why has never been revealed. In the case of the CIA, however, certain classified files hinted at a conflict of interests during the CIA's own infamous MKUltra project. As the occult wars came to an end in 1958 with the death of Adolf Hitler, the Bureau took on a range of wider responsibilities. Today, it is the world's foremost organization dedicated to studying and combating paranormal threats, ranging from the few remaining Nazi occultists to supernatural creatures such as goblins and elves, and all manner of demonic beasts from beyond the veil of reality. Ironically, many of the Bureau's agents come from the very worlds that the organization is dedicated to defeating. Chief among these is a demonic creature known as Hellboy. The sole eldritch survivor of the Bureau's 1944 operation, he was adopted by Professor Brutenholm and raised in his care, eventually entering the service of the Bureau and becoming its top operative. Originating from a distant plane of existence that could only be described as hell, Hellboy came to possess supernatural strength, stamina, and constitution. As its prize operative, and most arduously kept secret, Hellboy has been a pivotal factor over the past 60 years in saving the human race. Alongside Hellboy, the Bureau can deploy a wide range of operatives to carry out its duties. A range of human psychics give the organization a particular edge in fieldwork, including the powerful pyrokinetic Elizabeth Sherman, whose potential in a firefight was the equivalent of a localized artillery barrage. The ichthyosapien empath Abe Sapien is a singular asset in intelligence gathering, able to feel the passage of events and use residual psychic impressions to gaze back in time. Alongside them stand individuals like Johann Kraus, a human psychic whose physical form had been reduced to a gaseous ectoplasm after a disastrously misguided seance. His ability to commune with the dead, as well as his later capacity as director of the Bureau, were more than enough to justify the cost of the environmentally sealed suit he was forced to exist in. Together with these supernatural assets stand a range of field agents, poached from the FBI and various special forces groups. Foremost amongst these operatives was Professor Brutenholm himself. Its first true occult expert, he was both the director of the Bureau for much of its existence, as well as a father figure to both Hellboy and the institution itself. He guided the Bureau from a specialist division of the US military to the foremost international organization for combating the occult, all whilst raising the demonic child to become the world's most adept paranormal agent. He was killed in 2004 by a returned Rasputin and a resurrected Cronin, leaving the organization bereft of his knowledge and experience. In 2008, the masquerade would eventually break, and the existence of the Bureau, along with Hellboy and the occult in general, was revealed to the world. Hellboy himself was responsible for this revelation, having finally lost his patience with the self-destructive and violent world he spent his decades hiding from. After a grueling effort to defeat the genocidal elf prince Nuada, preventing the end of the human race at the hands of the mechanical Golden Army, Hellboy would leave the Bureau along with its top agents and Director Kraus. Devoid of some of its greatest assets, losing its director, and now facing exposure to the world, the Bureau was thrown into chaos. With the knowledge of demonic forces and occult power now widespread, the number of occult incidents is sure to rise. Certainly, these outbreaks will prove to be too much for local law or military forces to contain. Without the expertise of individuals like Professor Brutenholm, no organization will be within its depth. Whether or not Hellboy and the others will ever find their way back to the B.P.R.D, it is certain that these threats will not go unanswered. Lacking its expert leaders and supernatural assets, the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense will nevertheless make its stand against the worst horrors from beyond the world. For, in the words of its founder, there are things that go bump in the night, and we are the ones that bump back.
The Templin Institute investigates the nations, factions, and organizations of alternate worlds. If you've enjoyed this video and would like to join the Templin Institute, consider pledging to our Patreon page. Along with increased security access, you'll be able to vote in polls to determine future topics, get custom wallpaper every week, and receive some other exclusive rewards.